The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast.
Week one is done and underway, and we find week two here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, a track renamed after a local hero in Canada, and a track that is going to produce some great action here in the Red Sox Racing League. You've got a tight hairpin, you've got some twisty bits back and forth in the first sector, and it all boils down to a certain wall of champions that will probably decide a champion here, even though it's only week two. I want to welcome everybody here to PTR TV, to the Red Sox Racing League. It is week number 2 here in the winter series. It's not the fall series like that said, and we're not at Imola. We're at Montreal, as I said. I don't know why that said that, but hey, if there's not one tech issue, it's not PTR TV. Is that right? And I believe that is right. So it's gonna be myself, Bradley Dalton, here in the booth, and I am joined once again by a great friend of mine, one Mr. Sagar Bakshi. Sagar, so week 1 is here, gone, done, dusted. We're into week 2. I gotta ask you, how you feeling?
I'm feeling super excited again for week 2 with the 40% fixed fuel setup that the drivers have to contend with, forcing them to take an extra pit stop throughout this 30-minute race. It sure is to provide some interesting strategy choices and excitement. Like you said, we've got some twisty bits, we've got some chicanes, we've got a tight hairpin to contend with as well. So a lot of the drivers are going to see themselves having quite a few passing opportunities this time around, rather than at CTMP where the track was mostly flat out fast.
Yeah, I like that we've gone from one Canadian track to another Canadian track. I really do enjoy that. This is a track that, of course, if you're a Formula One fan, you know and love. This is a track that is quite familiar, so it's one that you should be pretty comfortable with. And if it's not, well, then let's go ahead and pull up just a real brief track map and let's talk about it, because this is a track that, well, like I said, I know it, I love it, but not everyone knows, not everyone loves. So here we go. 2.68 miles, 13 turns in. It starts out with a nice 90-degree left-hander, followed by a 180-degree right-hander, and then you see all the way at the end there's a hairpin, and then you see the little kink there down the main straight at the back straight. And yes, the back straight and the main straight are technically the same straightaway. It might take you a little bit to get used to, but I promise that's how it is.
Absolutely. 14 corners, 8 to the right, 6 to the left here, with only 8 feet of elevation change, located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, or should I say Quebec, Canada. And yes, featuring the Wall of Champions, where I'm sure a few drivers might find themselves running into. Of course, famous drivers such as Damon Hill, Michael Schumacher, and Jacques Villeneuve have all crashed into it during the 1999 Canadian Grand Prix. So it's only telling that the best drivers out there will also find themselves into that very same historic wall.
Yeah, and it's always one of those for me, you know, when we come here to Circuit Villeneuve, it's always interesting for me to watch and see just how drivers handle that Wall of Champions. Because it's one thing, you know, to say, oh, it's fine, I've got it, I can run this. And it's another to actually do it. And I'll tell you right now, it is a whole lot different, as all things are, for us in the booth to say something about it versus those drivers on track. They're the ones that will tell you that that wall comes up fast, it comes up quick, and it will jump out and bite you. I think some drivers are convinced that the wall moves as they go through. So we'll actually ride on board here real quick with Mark Kodrowski, who is out and about. He is a driver on a mission, and I want to see how he's feeling here today, and see what he does here at the Wall of Champions. all the curve through, and that's a pretty conservative line there for Kedrowski. But I'll tell you right now, if you look at other drivers that go through that same section of the track, such as if we jump back here with the 00 of Nathan Lafayette might be a little bit more on it, a little bit more out there, ragtag, looking to go through, but that can make or break your lap. How much curb you take through there and what you do can really make a difference.
Beautiful sights and sounds here from Montreal. I just wanted to hear those engines roar as they came through the Wall of Champions. And something that iRacing absolutely does get right is the closer you get to that wall, the more that sound baffles off of it and comes back and hits you. And I just wanted to hear that baffling engine noise a little bit louder as we got closer to the Wall of Champions. And sure, it was exciting to listen to that. An island paradise for racing. Track is built on an isle in Notre Dame, a man-made island constructed out of excavated material from the St. Lawrence Seaway and Montreal's metro system. But I don't think we'll see any excavations going on here tonight unless we're talking about Ross Booth, Nicholas Davis as well, because they're the only two drivers into the 135s, and they're digging themselves into a championship battle.
Now, honestly, looking at both of them, Nicholas Davis, first race here of the season for him. Ross Booth, of course, we know here at Red Sox, quick, very, very competitive. And Mark Kedrowski, of course, has said he's here to compete. He's shown up. He's ready to go. And hopefully he is doing pretty well. Mark Wilson as well here in Sim. Doesn't look like he set a qualifying lap, but Mark saying earlier this week that he was a little bit under the weather. So Mark, if you're out there watching, hope you're feeling better. Hope that you'll be able to make it next week. And it's a good thing you get a drop week here because it looks like this might be a good week to use for you. Get that drop week out of the way here early and then push it through the rest of the season.
And Mark Wilson was talking to us last week in the booth, and he was talking about how he was looking forward to winning this championship, and he was looking forward to winning races. He was putting in a quite deal of practice after he got himself a new set of pedals, I think is what he had said. Yep. And he said that the phenomenal feeling that he was getting was making him feel so much more confident with his rig. And he had an epic battle with Mitch Heller, and then Shane Hunter throwing his name in the mix after an early pit stop cycle. And he just found himself right between Mitch Heller and Mark Wilson. And Mark Wilson couldn't find a way past during the last half stint of that race.
Yeah, that was an absolutely beautiful battle. And if you missed it, don't go anywhere yet. Wait, go back, watch that after this. Go back and watch that week one battle because it was absolutely gorgeous. And I can't get enough of it. The more I look at it, the better it gets, honestly. And if you're wondering about how the rest of this season goes, and you're saying, okay, well, we're at Montreal. Last week was Canadian Tire Motorsports. Where's the rest of your season going? Well, let's just go ahead and run it down because next week it's Interlagos, another iconic track. It's going to be great. And then it's Okayama on the 6th of February. The 13th of February, we go Coda. And then the 20th of February, we're going to take it to the Charlotte Roval to round out this Winter Series 1. And then we'll get 2 weeks off. And then we'll get a third week off for iRacing week 13, and then starting the 20th of March is gonna be the Series 2 here in Red Sox Racing, which has some fun tracks coming, which I don't know if they've been officially announced or not, so I'm not gonna announce them here because if they haven't been announced, I don't want to spoil the fun.
Well, yeah, let's not announce anything before we become too ready for it, but what we're getting ready for is the race stint to finally get underway. We just have under 45 seconds remaining on the clock for qualifying, and nobody else has really been out there to challenge those 135s. The 135.0 from Ross Booth, a 135.2 from Nicholas Davis. It looks like Nicholas Davis has found himself into the pit lane. Mark Kedrowski with a 136.1 who we're on board with right now. Shane Hunter, Brian Irby, Dave Hill, Mitch Heller, Jim Grazino, and Todd Mariam Pietri and Robert Beirus will be the top 10 drivers.
And as they come through here, 10 seconds left to go in qualifying. Kedrowski's on a really good lap, but I worry that he's not going to have enough time to actually get that lap in here as he goes through. There's the bell, session over, and into the pits he goes, actually. So Mark Kedrowski not putting in that final time, but it looks like he could have had a better time. He was on pace. I was seeing purple coming through. Thought he might have had something, but unfortunately there at the end he doesn't. Everybody filters in here into the pit lane while that 2-minute timer counts down here to get things settled in. And also, if this is your first time seeing Red Sox Racing League or seeing anything here on PTR TV, don't let it be your last time. Be sure to like, subscribe, ring the bells. We're on a mission for 1,500 subscribers, and we are currently at 1,430. So we're getting there. We just need some help to get the rest of the way.
And we'll get there in due time. And qualifying session being concluded now. Ross Booth leads over Nicholas Davis still, and no one else was able to dip into that 135 threshold. About a 1 second gap from P1 to P3. That's something you don't see too often, and it's actually about 1 second in its entirety. And Shane Hunter, the man on the mission this time around, hoping to get lucky with a pit stop strategy, is down into fourth place, driving that number 927.
It's going to be such a fun race. And while they're getting things going, nobody else putting in a time here. All cars are in the pit lane. So let's go ahead and run down this starting grid while we wait on the session to go here. It's going to be Ross Booth and Nicholas Davis. Yes, they have identical cars. Yes, they're both driving a Lamborghini. And yes, they have locked out the front row with a 134.9 and a 135.2. P3 here, Mark Kodrowski. Fourth place, Shane Hunter. Yes, you see a Mustang in P4. I'm just as excited about it. It's not Pole and IMSA, but it's fourth place here in Red Sox, and I'm quite thrilled. Going through fifth place, Brian Irby. Sixth place, Dave Hill. Seventh place, Robert Beirus. And then Mitch Heller, the Alpine Ferrari, down in eighth place. Jim Graziano in ninth in the Porsche. And 10th place is Todd Marion Pietri running through the top 10 there. From there, we're looking at P11, Aaron Law, P12, Matt Owens, and then we're going 13th place, Dennis Griffin, 14th place, David Berry in the Hot Wheels Mustang. Lots of Mustangs here tonight. Les Turner in 15th, Alex Bentley Dean in 16th, Dwayne McCarthy in 17th, Kevin Kyle in 18th, Nathan Lafayette, Ed Sutcliffe, and then 21st is James Prostel Jr. Sheldon Rosenbaum didn't put in a time. Mark Wilson did not put in a time. And neither did Mark Agee. So those three drivers not putting in times here tonight. We'll see if they take the start grid and start from the back. Again, as we said earlier on, it is Mark Wilson who is a little bit under the weather. So I don't anticipate seeing him on the track here as the car's grid.
Super unfortunate to hear that Mark Wilson is not feeling well. Hope you do feel better, brother, and hopefully we will see you out on track next week. But go get yourself some rest. That'll be 24 drivers in the session right now, and that is an exciting grid to be having for PTR TV and the Red Sox Racing League. This is quite a full grid of very experienced and very high-class drivers that are super respectful of what they're able to do on circuit, and they know their limitations. So I am absolutely here for it and excited to be here for another week of the Red Sox Racing League.
Absolutely. Looking at our race details here, we're looking at limited fuel load, 40% fuel load in these GT3 cars. One fast repair is available to them. If something unfortunate happens, we saw what CTMP did last week there, turn one, lap one. And then 30-minute race. You got 30 minutes, get as many laps in as you can, do what you can here. And then, of course, keys to the race here, sponsored by, well, as one Mr. Corey Silva likes to say, we're still looking for a sponsor for this one. So if you're trying to sponsor it, bring it through and give us a call. Patience. Number one key is patience. Time your pit stop very, very well. We saw this play a little bit of chaos last week at CTMP. Do you pit earlier? Do you split the race 50-50? Or do you pit a little bit later and try to just squeeze some time? And then don't be a champion at the wall. Someone is going to be a champion at the wall. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. The wall, of course, giveth, the wall taketh away. But as the drivers are waiting on things to go through, go ahead and place your bets, Sagar. Who is going to win this one tonight?
I'm going to take an underdog here. I'm going to throw my name in the ring for Shane Hunter. I think Shane Hunter is going to surprise us in that Ford Mustang. He may not have the pace lap after lap for the qualifying session, but the man has been awfully consistent. So I'm looking to see that 927 Ford Mustang move up the field and maybe clinch out first place.
I'm going to put my money on Mark Kudrowski. So I'm looking P3 there. Kudrowski seems pretty comfortable. Shane Hunter, I'm definitely going to put in the top 3. I'm curious to see what happens between Ross Booth and Nicholas Davis, where they end up. And how turn 1 handles. There has been a rule set in and kind of just a memo to all the drivers. Don't send it 3 wide, turn 1, lap 1. Don't, do anything too crazy. Which again, it's one thing to say it. It's another thing to be the drivers on track. But as we've talked about time upon time upon time, these drivers here at Red Sox, they know what they're about. They know what they're doing, and they will keep things together very well. That pace safety car here, that iRacing pace car, brings the cars down the casino straight here, and as they come through the final chicane here, the wall of champions, we go through. Barney's got the green flag there on the left hand side. He's ready to go. We're going to be racing for 30 minutes here with Red Sox as they get underway right about now. There we go. So we're going to be underway, and we are going to be going here nice and fun. Here we go into turn 1. Everybody keeps it together. Nathan Lafayette, Ross Booth go side by side. Keep it side by side. Everybody's holding on pretty well, and it is going to be Nicholas Davis who actually gets the run up over Ross Booth. Now we have the run down towards turn 2. Hard on the brakes, they're going to come, and who is going to pass who? Nobody gets the pass done. Single file, pretty as they please through. Side by side back here in the background, Marion Pietri and Jim Graziano. It's 2x2 after you get past the first 10, and there was somebody off right there. That's a Hot Wheels Mustang.
And yeah, they're still 2x2 coming in through the next chicane. The drivers are apt to want to make any moves possible early on in this stint. They didn't go 3 wide headed down into turn 1. The drivers are too smart for all of that stuff, but they will go 2 wide throughout the entire first lap to try to get those positions done and dusted as quickly as they can. Nicholas Davis and Ross Booth challenging each other right now for that first position. And there goes a look from Kudrowski from behind. He closed down the gap very steadily, but having a bit of a slip and slide moment as he came out of that hairpin, and he loses all that time that he gained into the braking zone. Shane Hunter, that big bad Ford Mustang, is lurking in the background, but
And now it's the long run down the casino straight here. I mean, he's going to be losing tons of time here. Can he hold off behind our first time down through the final chicane in towards the wall of champions? Keep it together, everybody. It seems like it's going to get through fairly okay. I want to check back in here towards Todd Marion Pietri, Jim Graziano. They've kind of figured it out, single file in the background. And as we go, it looks like things are pretty good. We'll jump back up here with the leaders yet again as we continue along. It looks like everyone has done a very good job of getting things through, and it is going to be Nathan Lafayette, James Prostel, and Mark Agee that are on track here. They are running through, and they're looking pretty solid as they come around. So we jump back up here towards the front as everybody comes through the first couple of corners. And I tell you what, Nicholas Davis, Ross Booth, they're looking to make a run here. 1.5 seconds currently they have up on Mark Kudrowski.
They might just be working together to run away from the pack behind before they engage in any type of shenanigans or overtaking opportunities. And as I say that, it looks like Ross Booth was looking to make a move, but no, he didn't want to jump on it just quite yet. But the drivers seemingly pushing each other like a group of Mazda MX-5s, just bump drafting each other to get the hurry up and go to escape the clutches of Mark Kudrowski from behind. Like you said, it's a 1.9 second gap behind, and it's just ever growing lap after lap.
I don't know if you keep up with IMSA a lot, Sagar, but I do. And if you've ever watched the MX-5 Cup, sometimes I think the GT3s and iRacing have a very similar racing style. You know, you just mentioned kind of the bump and run, trying to get some gaps building. If you've ever watched IMSA MX-5 racing in real life, all they do is put the bumper to each other. It is a very, very common occurrence for them to put the bumper to each other.
Oh, we were just watching the 45 minutes race one of the Mazda MX-5s, and that's exactly what I was alluding to. Just a whole bunch of bumping and running and a whole bunch of bump drafting, and it is better than NASCAR. The racing has been phenomenal, and we're getting that same taste here with PTR TV and the Red Sox Racing League. Just the same type of action, maybe just a handful fewer drivers than that Mazda MX-5 grid, But right now we're looking at Brian Irby chasing down Kadrowski, but under threat from Dave Hill. Not Damon Hill, but Dave Hill in that number 13 behind. And that might be the lucky number for him.
It absolutely could be Dave Hill, number 13. I personally don't like the number 13, but if you're Dave Hill, it proves to be nice here. We ride on board for just a brief moment as he comes through this chicane in the back of the track, going through, again, looking nice and comfortable. And I still really like the Mustang. Again, that's one of those that's kind of controversial, but I really like the Mustang. And just to address one thing really quick, I know it says James Prostel, Mark Agee, and Shane Hunter out of this session. They are not. They are on track. Not sure what's happened with them. I will double check that here in just a moment, though. Actually, it's possible they might be out. We'll get a quick PTR TV replay coming in of what may have happened to them. And get this going and see if we can't tell exactly what happened, because it's telling me that they may have crashed, but I don't know what happened to cause that. So,
and of course, Mike Man, Shane Hunter tumbling down the order back down into 22nd place. So my prediction is turned into a commentator's curse. Shane Hunter unfortunately involved in an accident that sends him to the back of the pack now. That can't be too great. And it looks like we had a change for a lead. No, excuse me, that was just a hiccup in the timing tower. Nicholas Davis and Ross Booth are still in the race, and then Mark Kadrowski in third place.
Yeah, 1 second, ladies and gentlemen, as we get this sorted out here on our side. We're going to let you look at this beautiful instant replay transition for just a moment as I get this sorted. Not usually an issue that we have with anything, so I'm not sure what is actually happening there. We'll get that fixed and get you back going. See if we can't find that moment there, see what has caused some drivers to drop on and off the track. It doesn't look like anything here really has actually happened, so we get back going with live pictures now, and let's bring you back in live. And as you can see, well, Nicholas Davis, Ross Booth looking to pull some gaps here on Mark Kadrowski. Gap 3.5 seconds back to him, and then another 2 seconds between Kadrowski and Brian Irby. So plenty of gap there to be found.
100%. These drivers are lapping around 135s right now, still pulling out their qualifying pace. It looks like Ross Booth has gained a little bit of speed now. He's doing 135.2s compared to the 135.7 of Nicholas Davis out in front. 136s for Mark Kadrowski in the background, as well as 136s for majority of the rest of the field.
Yeah, everybody looks like they're doing pretty well. And indeed, Shane Hunter is out. So one more time here, we're going to click and go over and get a replay of what happened to Shane Hunter. And, well, this is what happened to Shane Hunter. Is it a Wall of Champions moment? No, it is a there and then not moment. That is a very weird moment to have for Shane Hunter. So not sure what caused that, but he was there and then he wasn't.
I know with a lot of the storms affecting the Midwest or the Mid-East, I guess, or the belt of the United States right now, hopefully a network connection is all that was, and we'll call that chalked up to a red flag or mechanical failure for Shane Hunter. And of course, we still have drop rounds. The worst drop rounds of the rounds that we have here at Red Sox Racing League will get removed from your standing, so this might be the one round that Shane Hunter needed to clinch his way back into the championship.
Yeah, I'm looking through really quick. It was indeed a technical issue for Shane Hunter. It looks like a sim crash and a freeze that dropped him out of the session. So it looks like that is actually what that was. So unfortunately, again, we don't have mechanical failures in iRacing. We don't have any sort of big moments in iRacing like that. But every once in a while, you're going to have a hardware failure or some sort of moment there that causes your race to be over that you can't control. And unfortunately, that is what happened with Shane Hunter tonight.
Back in 8th place, it looks like Marion Pietri was closing down the gap on Aaron Law. The gap was under a couple tenths of a second and opened up now to 4 tenths of a second It was very, very close coming into that final set of corners, but now things have opened up by just a smidgems, allowing themselves to gain some breathing room. Aaron Law lapping at a 136.8 will come under threat from Marion Pietri out in front over the next few laps and continue to feel that pressure, that oven heating up behind him.
Indeed, and as we watch them go through here, the Mustang GT3, number 47 of Aaron Law, really trying to just keep things moving, keep things going, be nice and comfortable. Marion Pietri there actually is ahead, so interesting to see that it's saying that he's behind. Not sure what that's about as we go through. Actually, there we go. We'll get that corrected really quick and go through. Not sure what has caused that one too. That's a interesting time here as we go. Let's look here really quick because this is your battle on screen for P8 as it goes. Aaron Law, Marion Pietri, Jim Graziano, Matt Owens even in the background there in the Porsche. This back half of the pack is really together, really looking comfortable. They're kind of just keeping pace with each other. Of course, almost 8 seconds between Davis and Booth to Irby, and then another half second back between Irby and Kedrowski. So still seeing some things there, but overall it looks like everyone's nice and comfortable.
Absolutely. And one of the things that drives me unnervingly nauseous is trying to follow another driver when you're within half a second. And these drivers out here for the Red Sox Racing League seemingly having no problem. And as we were just talking about this, here's a side-by-side battle between Irby and Kedrowski coming in through the chicane. And now it looks like Irby is able to get the move done and dusted around Kedrowski. And now this is going to be a three-way scrap and a little bit of aggressive defensive maneuvers there from Kedrowski. And that's Dave Hill in the Ford Mustang behind. And Dave Hill, Mitch Heller is the one who's going off in the background, going a little bit too deep there at the hairpin. But no, he's able to keep that Alpine underneath him and driving forward. Mitch Heller, the race leader and winner of round one, now stuck back into sixth place, trying to fight his way forward this event.
And as we continue through here, it's going to be not a dive into the final chicane towards the Wall of Champions. So I thought there might have been a little bit of a peak there, but it's not. But as you mentioned, this four-car battle is now really opened up, and Mitch Heller into a P6 here, just trying to keep that Ferrari Alpine comfortable and keep his car moving forward. He looks like he's got some pace, but he is down a few positions and is just really trying to hold on. Kedrowski here really wants to get into that top three here if he can and really move that Audi forward. Of course, Audi versus Audi battle. Well, an Audi's going to win. I don't know which one, though. So we'll see how this goes as they continue through this circuit, Gilles Villeneuve.
Absolutely true. One Audi will reign champion here tonight, at least in P3, because Nicholas Davis and Ross Booth have escaped with their lives. The gap is now an astounding 10.3 seconds to the drivers out in front. Now I think Ross Booth and Nicholas Davis are going to decide to fight each other. If they're not teammates during this event, then they will start battling it out. We're about to approach the halfway point within the next 2 minutes or so. So now the gloves are about to come off. A late look from Kedrowski up the inside line, but gets on the brakes well enough now, coming in through the hairpin and closing down the gap. Not nearly enough. And he's 0.6 back from Brian Irby in the number 11 out in third.
And as we run down the Casino Straight here yet again, that pit entry is just a straight shot off of the Casino Straight. Instead of taking that right towards the Wall of Champions, you just keep going straight there. You can see the white line. So if any drivers decide to do that, they just got to be a little careful of the cars behind, know that they're continuing on, make sure they don't, accidentally end up in any trouble there behind. Aaron Law here checking back in with the Mustang driver. Big wiggle there out of the Wall of Champions. Mustangs traditionally known for being very well at going straight. I know a lot of people will actually take their Mustangs in real life and, build drag racing cars out of them. Not something that you traditionally see go super well in corners, but the GT3 car does it very well, all things considered. A little bit of an off-track moment there from Marion Pietri. That's going to let Graziano close the gap a little bit here down in P9, P10, and as they continue along, they will just keep pushing and moving through. Graziano, a fast Porsche driver, is really trying to look to make it that pass on the McLaren where he can. The big question is where, and Marion Pietri, I tell you what, that car is loose.
Yeah, Marion Pietri not having the grandest of times right now, under threat from Graziano from behind to the 10th place spot. He's 2/10 off of the good, and he's lapping around 2/10 faster than Marion Pietri out in front. And there goes a look up the inside line, coming through the big old kink. Will he be able to hold on the speed and momentum? He sure does, as Marion Pietri seemingly letting that one just happen. Going into the hairpin, wants to avoid any carnage or damage to that beautiful looking McLaren, and he does do so. But now Marion Pietri in 10th and Graziano into 9th place.
Yeah, I think that was a case of safety in the moment. Brian Irby into the pit lane now, so 15 minutes to go, split that race perfectly in half, and Brian Irby has decided to be the first car to go ahead and take a pit stop here. We'll see what his lane time is as he comes through. Interesting decision to see him go ahead and hit the pits here at 15 minutes, really just pitting solo. And I say that, but no, Dennis Griffin back behind him there. We'll see how long he's in the box here, because the big thing about if you pit early, as you know, Sagar, and we saw this kind of bite people last week, you pit earlier, you're in the box a little bit longer, but you can kind of try to take advantage here and jump some people.
Yeah, and performing an undercut strategy, maybe getting out of some traffic that he was about to see, but Brian Irby was the one who had clear air, so this is definitely a decision that he made before the race had already started, before he had gone into that 3rd place spot. So now he's going to have to roll the dice and lay where the cards may fall. Unfortunately for the number 11, pitting a little bit early, has to take a larger fuel load to get through the rest of the 15 minutes of this stint that he's racing right now. And that'll promote Dave Hill into 3rd place, Mitch Heller into 4th place, and Beirut into 5th.
If I'm Dave Hill or Mitch Heller right now, or even Robert Beirut, I am taking the anchors off and I am sending this car. I am absolutely going, because they can perform the upset of all upsets and send Brian Irby back to the back if they just absolutely stomp on it. And I think this is one of those, sort of difference in approaches. I think some drivers are going to go 50% and let it be. And I think some drivers are going to really, really look at, how far can I truly run on fuel side by side into turn 1? Heller, Hill, who comes out ahead? Well, Mitch Heller decided to send that Ferrari up the inside, get it ahead. The Mustang still right on the back, though. Mustang has very, very good power, and Dave Hill is going to try to battle it back around, but it looks like not able to as we come down towards the start of those fun back and forth chicane sections, basically turn 3 all the way down through turn 9.
Yeah, the fast and flowy bits of this racetrack definitely being a great drive here at Montreal. And there goes a look from the number 13, snapping back on the Alpine Ferrari. And this is going to lead all the way into the back hairpin, if I'm not mistaken, Le Epingal. And then hopefully he gets the move done and dusted without any 2 issues. And then, yes, he is. It looks like Dave Hill in front of Mitch Heller. And Heller really could just not respond there as we approach the hairpin now.
I think Heller's Ferrari is just not the best there in those technical sections through sector 1 and 2. I think really where Mitch Heller feels comfortable is here through sector 3 down with the straight section. Of course, these are fixed setups, so no setup differences except for really how the setup is between the cars. So I think that's going to be kind of what spells the difference with their cars where they're at. Mitch Heller here on the day started 8th, currently 4th. I mean, he's up places, so he can be pretty happy with it. But if you know Mitch Heller, and if you've talked to Mitch Heller more than once, you already know that 4th place isn't where he wants to be. He wants to be in 1st. He wants to be up. I don't think 1st or 2nd are going to be on the cards tonight, but a podium, well, he's fighting for it right now.
Yeah, he is, but don't forget about the undercut from our driver who pit early, Brian Irby. And what happened to Mark Kudrowski? Looks like Kudrowski may be out of this race. He was going to inherit 3rd place behind Brian Irby, but now tumbling down the order, I'm seeing him in 21st place. Is that correct?
That is correct. We'll get a quick replay here on PTR TV of what happened to him. So we'll get this pulled up for you, and we'll give you a look of what happened to Mark Kudrowski. And the answer is indeed, well, oh, it's a cut through turn 4, spin, slams. And that's all she wrote, unfortunately, for Mark.
It looks like Mark Kudrowski has found the wall of champions. Unfortunate for him. Was that turn 4 or was that turn 13 and 14? I couldn't quite tell.
That
but
was
either way,
turn 4.
Either way, super unfortunate for Mark Kudrowski to tumble down the order like that. And look at this gap that has opened up between Nicholas Davis and Ross Booth. A 2.4 second lap, a 2.4 second gap, as Ross Booth was about 2.3 seconds slower that previous lap alone. I wonder what happened to Ross Booth to tumble down the order so fast.
Looks like Ross Booth also having an off-track moment here. We'll see if we can get a quick replay of that as well here while the cars continue around. And what happened with Ross Booth? Well, let's take a look here. So he's running right there, back in the back. He's the car behind going through. It looks like cars are starting to get a little upset. Runs off track a little bit of wiggle. I don't think that would cause a large gap. That actually might be a slowdown that he picked up then from that off track. So, because it looks like he does lose a bit of time here. It seems like he'd be serving a slowdown at this point.
Super unfortunate for Ross Booth. A slight miscalculation of track limits opens up a gap to now 2.4 seconds between himself and Nicholas Davis out in front. Mitch Heller into third place now after the pit cycles began. Brian Irby, Dave Hill, Robert Beirus, Aaron Law, Dennis Griffin, all the way down to Mark Agee, all the way to 20th position have pit so far.
And I would really be surprised if we don't see more drivers start pitting here very soon. We check back in with Todd Pietri here, who is trying to battle out with Jim Graziano and Matt Owens here. Matt Owens with the plaid FAF livery there on the top, matching that traditional IMSA FAF livery. Of course, they have left McLaren in IMSA, and they have went to Lamborghini, and they unveiled that traditional livery earlier this month. And it looks gorgeous on track. So I really like that, red and black plaid look. Somebody else is into the pits now. And who is it? Well, it's Jim Graziano. Who follows Jim Graziano in? It's Dave Barry. Who follows Dave Barry in? Alex Bentley Dean. So plenty of drivers going ahead and getting those pit stops in. Still Nicholas Davis, Ross Booth separated out 2.5 seconds. They're not in. And then 21 seconds back to Mitch Heller from the leader.
Super exciting to see the pit stops underway now. Nicholas Davis and Ross Booth having yet to take their pit stop, as well as the rest of the leaders in the pack, all the way down to P6. Very interesting to see 8 minutes remaining on the clock. Like you said, they're probably going to have to pit this lap, if not a lap later at the latest, because of that fuel load that they're running. And maybe these drivers are trying to get the maximum qualifying pace that they possibly can. 135s coming out for Nicholas Davis and Ross Booth up at the front. Mitch Heller running a 137.2 that previous lap around, as well as Todd Pietri running a 37.1. So the times are kind of slipping away from the drivers in the back of the front runners right now, and we'll have to keep an eye on the deltas of who is running faster. Brian Irby is running faster in the 136 range, and he will hopefully claim back third place. And here they are, Nicholas Davis and Ross Booth into the pits this lap alone.
Let's see what they do here in the pits, and we'll keep an eye on the gap there to Mitch Heller and see where that comes down. Really, the gap we need to watch is that gap to the number 11, Brian Irby, as they go through Nicholas Davis into the box, fuel going in to that Lamborghini, and out of the box he comes, and it looks like Mitch Heller in as well. 8.5 seconds in the box. And to give you an idea, it was 8.9 in the box for Brian Irby when he came through. And where is Brian Irby? Well, let's check in with him as he comes through the wall of champions. So he's gaining some time here. A little bit of the tap on the wall from Dave Hill behind in the GT3 Mustang. But where is he going to come out in relation? Well, let's go to the chopper cam here, not the blimp cam. Chopper cam brings it through, and well, Brian Irby will come out in a comfortable third place here.
Absolutely phenomenal. He still has Dave Hill chasing him down right now, but Dave Hill last lap around has been about 4/10 faster, so nothing to really worry about too much. Irby can obviously pick up the pace a little bit to drive that one forward. He's faster through sector 1, Irby is, than Dave Hill, but we all saw the Mustang where its time was best, and that'll be through sector 2, so expect to see that gap come down ever so slightly lap after lap this time around and through this middle sector. And there goes Mitch Heller just past the camera now into 6th place as he chases down Robert Beirut, who has also just taken his pit stop.
So all pit stops have now cycled. All pit stops are in, done, dusted. So it'll be interesting to see where this really settles in, because this is your running order. This is where we're set. And Brian Irby up into 3rd place, looking like he's in a very, very good spot, even though he's on his 5th lap of his 2nd stint. And some people just now coming out of the box getting the fuel. Of course, they don't change tires, so tire wear consistent. But on a GT3 car, a 30-minute run, that's nothing on tires.
Absolutely true. You definitely don't need to change the tires. The one thing that will bequeath the drivers is cold sets of rubber when they come out of pit lane. I know that it won't seem like it's too much of an issue, but coming down pit lane and basically serving a drive-through penalty will dissipate a lot of that heat that's been generated, so the drivers have to be a little bit careful when they come out of pit lane. And you know who I'm missing here tonight? I think I'm missing Scooby-Doo. I was looking for him up and down the grid. I couldn't remember the driver's name. Can you?
If you hadn't asked me, I could tell you. I'll do a quick dig and find it really quick. But indeed, I was looking for the Scooby-Doo car in practice and couldn't find it, and it wasn't there. So we'll have to double check and see where they're at as they go through. I'm gonna double check who that was actually here for just a second as we continue on along and around.
Absolutely. And here comes Brian Irby chasing down the drivers out in front of Ross Booth. I think that'll be Mark Gee, who's a back marker right now, number 27, because that's definitely not Ross Booth or Nicholas Davis out in front right now as we come through the hairpin. And yes, that is a back marker. Getting out of the way for the lead cars on that lead lap. He's doing a good job of being a very respectful back marker or blue flag car and getting out of the way quickly and as swiftly as possible. Mark Gee lapping at around 140.622. So quite a bit slower than the drivers around him right now. And Dave Hill will be the next car to try to get past him. And that's actually a very beautiful livery from Mark Gee in that 20th position. And it looks like a homage to a Scooby-Doo theme car that we're looking for right now off the street.
That Scooby-Doo car is David Barry, which is nowhere to be found. So wherever David Barry is, someone give him a call and tell him we need to see him on track, because we really like his livery. Checking back in with the leaders here for just a moment as we have 3 minutes to go. And well, barring any moment from them, Nicholas Davis, Ross Booth gap 3/4 of a second here, continuing consistently, and well, they're just gonna keep things going. Looks like we're gonna have a lap and some change here on the moment as they come through the hairpin around. And well, Ross Booth is gonna try to make a move somewhere. 24 seconds back to Brian Irby, and Brian Irby by no stretch of the imagination being very quick, but I tell you what, Nicholas Davis and Ross Booth have been lapping almost a second a lap faster this entire 30 minutes. So it's been a big run from them, but Brian Irby here in the end pulling off a very good pit strategy. Big thing he's got to worry about for the next 2.5 minutes, holding off this Mustang of Dave Hill.
Absolutely true. Keeping Dave Hill at bay will be the thing he has to contend with. Dave Hill, that previous lap around, was out at a 137.7 and Brian Irby at a 136.8. So the lap time's definitely going Irby's way. The battle that we're going to want to keep an eye on is the battle for the lead of this race, because Nicholas Davis is a bit slower than Ross Booth behind. Booth being about 4/10 quicker, and the gap, well, you guessed it, is about 4/10 right now.
And as they come through here, it's going to be this lap plus one more that they're on, and they are coming through the turn 7. 6, 7, 8, 9 complex is currently where they're at. So this is the top half of the track here. And now they're going to have the right to the left-hander, and then they'll run it all the way down towards Le Pont and down the hairpin, as we've been calling it all night. Le Pont is indeed the name. They go through, they come around, they come down, and any late break moves from Ross Booth, it doesn't look like it here at the moment. He is going to just stick right behind, put the nose in, try to take a look here if he can, and they're going to run through just a little bit more left to go here. They'll cross the line, they'll get the final lap in here, and one more lap after they cross the line. What do the Lamborghinis have against each other, though? We'll have to keep our eyes on this to see. Brian Irby, David Hill doing a very good job. Mitch Heller looking to get a pass here in the background on Robert Beirus in the Corvette. Mitch Heller in the Ferrari going through side by side. Mitch Heller to the outside here through the hairpin. And can he make it stick? Well, indeed he does. Robert Beirus respectfully giving the room, and that is going to be that battle through.
And this is a battle that was not through yet. Nicholas Davis battling with Ross Booth, separated by just 0.3 of a second. The previous lap around, nearly identical lap times, but Booth was still 0.4 faster, able to close down the gap. And this was going to be the move that takes us all the way down to the checkered flag, coming around for the final lap. Getting through that first sector will be crucial. The 6 looking to the inside line behind the number 14, sniffing like he wants a piece of the pie, looking for any opportunity or any weakness in the armor of Nicholas Davis out in front right now. But right now it's Ross Booth chasing down the charge, and the Lamborghinis are battling between themselves right now, coming in through turns 8 and 9 now and headed down to the old hairpin. This is going to be the one opportunity. Finally, side-by-side action between the leaders. There goes a good look up the inside line, trying to defend, and then there goes. Oh my goodness, I thought they were about to touch the number 6. Loses out any opportunity to the number 14 out in front. Nicholas Davis does an amazing job of keeping that defensive action alive.
And as they come through here for the final time, little bit of a look here. Ross Booth trying to find a move. Nicholas Davis here in the lead through the wall of champions the final time. Mind the curb, a wiggle from Ross Booth spells disaster. And for Nicholas Davis, it spells success. He'll bring that Lamborghini across the line. And Nicholas Davis will win round 2 here in the Red Sox Racing League. Ross Booth is going to be across in second place. And we go back 27 seconds to Brian Irby here running in P3, a respectable P3 though, pulled off the ultimate pit strategy, split that pit time in half. And here he is bringing the Audi across in third. Dave Hill tried to give it just enough to bring it through in fourth, wasn't able to. And Mitch Heller, a respectable top 5, fighting off the Corvette, the Porsches, the Mustangs behind, and just keeping the pedal to the metal in that Ferrari Alpine livery and doing a great job for 5th place.
Absolutely. Then Beirut in 6th, Aaron Law in 7th, Jim Graziano in 8th, Matt Owens in 9th, and Todd Marin-Pietri will finish out the top 10 drivers here for night 2 at the Red Sox Racing League. And an amazing drive had by all drivers as they all get to the finish line. But it has to be said, Nicholas Davis and Ross Booth pulled off a masterclass tonight, lapping, like you said earlier, about a second faster each lap than the rest of the field.
It was amazing, and we know Nicholas Davis and Ross Booth are fast, but that was just otherworldly as Ed Sutcliffe comes across the line, the final driver on the lead lap to finish. And out of all of our cars here, it was 20 cars that took the finish line here. We lost Kadrowski, we lost Shane Hunter, we lost Mark Wilson, and we lost Sheldon Rosenbaum. 24 cars that started, 20 cars that finish. Let's go ahead and bring up the final results here on your day, the official, unofficial race results as they come through. And it is going to be a good run from Nicholas Davis here. Ross Booth, 2nd place. We watched that glorious battle and a wiggle in the wall of champions. Spells the champion versus the 2nd place. Brian Irby in 3rd. Dave Hill in 4th. Mitch Heller in 5th. Robert Beirut, Aaron Law, Jim Graziano, Matt Owens, Todd, Marion, Pietri round out your top 10. From there, David Barry, Dennis Griffin, Alex Bentley, Dean, Kevin Kyle, Dwayne McCarthy, Les Turner, Bossman in P16. Didn't talk about him a lot tonight. Nathan Lafayette, P17, Ed Sutcliffe in 18th, James Prostel Jr. in 19th, and Mark Agee in P20. Kadrowski 21st, Shane Hunter, Mark Wilson, and Sheldon Rosenbaum, with the final two, Wilson and Rosenbaum, not taking to the race start. Man, good race, I have to say. I always am impressed with Red Sox, but even today was just amazing.
Truly amazing results for all of the drivers. Making it to the checkered flag, of course, is the real prize here. And it looks like we have a couple of drivers waiting to get into the booth with us, Bradley Dalton. Now let's start grabbing drivers and get these interviews underway, because I'm excited to talk to Nicholas Davis and Ross Booth.
Absolutely. Let's grab Nicholas Davis and bring him in here. Oh, let's see. Nicholas Davis, I have one question. What did you put in that car?
I think it was a lot of hopes and dreams at the start of the race. I think that's really what we were fueled on. Was focusing as much as possible on trying to save as much fuel once I was in front of Ross. And I think a pretty nicely timed slowdown was what really helped me out there.
So you and Ross obviously ran away there in the beginning. I have to ask, what was the plan for you two as you ran through the race? What were you all looking at doing? And, what was going to be your plan for, battling things through?
Honestly, there really wasn't much chat about like a plan or kind of, I'll let you do this or do that. We just kind of were seeing how it, panned out at the end, but we were kind of, joking around and chatting a little bit. And then, once he got the slowdown, things got real quiet and real serious real quick. I ran some quicker laps and he started to try and chase me down. And it was a great little battle. Got me sweating a little bit for sure.
It was a lot of fun to watch through. Looking through towards the next races coming up, what's going to be your plan moving forward? You weren't here last week. Are you looking at being here next week?
Yeah, definitely. I think maybe we can turn this into more routine showing for us. I like running with the Red Sox guys. Always a great time, very respectful. Whether you're racing in the back, the front, or the middle, there's someone to race with always. So really love running with them, and hopefully we'll keep showing up some more.
Awesome. It's always fun to have you here. So looking forward to seeing what you do here in the future. Hopefully we see you around a bit more. Enjoy the win, and we'll catch you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. So in Sauger, I believe Ross Booth is the next one to pull into the booth. Ross, how's it going, man?
Not so good when you finish behind your teammate, I guess. No, I'm kidding. Pretty good.
Come on. It couldn't have been too bad, right? Right?
That was a really good race. Nick drove a really, really clean race. I think the race honestly was won going into turn one. He just had the preferred line, and it's just so hard to pass here at Montreal. Unless the guy makes a mistake in front of you, there isn't a whole lot you can do unless you really send it in there, and there's only so much sending you can do on a teammate.
True, very true. You're very respectful with how you tried to challenge back. We saw you go a little side by side headed in towards the hairpin, but at the beginning of the race, what was the strategy going through your head? Were you just trying to escape the drivers behind before you started challenging for position, or were your thoughts not even on that?
Really just trying to drive my own race. Like I said, Montreal is just so hard to pass, so just sort of trying to break away from the guys behind, and then it sort of just becomes a two-horse race at that point, and then it's really all about the fuel save. I got to slow down on turn 3 with, I don't know, a couple laps to go with the pit, which put me behind quite a bit, so my fuel saving just basically caught me back up instead of maybe jumping him in the pits. But no, we had a really good last lap there.
It sure was an excellent last lap battle and a late breaking move that you tried to send coming into the final chicane, but to no avail. You almost kissed the wall of champions there. Talk us through your thoughts going through that last lap battle.
Yeah, I knew Nick made a couple of mistakes the lap before, and I was able to close in enough. And then it's really just trying to pick the one spot I said I could do it, and it's probably going to be the hairpin. I thought he would go in deeper so that I can get under him off of the hairpin, but he just drove a perfect hairpin, and there wasn't really much more I could do. And then just sort of trying to get in his mirror into the last chicane there, trying to get him to make a mistake, but he was flawless all race, and we wind up second.
Well, congratulations on finishing second. I know it's not where you wanted to finish out your race, but you still did a great job driving that one forward and keeping it clean, which is the most important thing here at the Red Sox Racing League. So congratulations. Any other final thoughts or anybody that you want to thank before we take in Brian Irby, our third place finisher?
Yeah, I just want to shout out Composite Performance, our sponsors over there, P1 Docs, TAM Liveries, Grid, and Sim Labs. They do a lot for the team and make our cars the fastest on track, so big thanks to them.
Right on. Thank you very much, Ross Booth, for joining us. We're going to talk to Brian Irby. Have a wonderful night, and as always, stay safe out there.
And we'll catch up with Brian Irby here really quickly. Brian, third place on a pit strategy. How did you decide that one to pit right at 15 minutes to go?
Well, I seen Mark get off, man, and I got in front of him. He was trying to race me kind of aggressively, man, so I just kind of figured, you know what? Let me go ahead and pit, man. Let me go ahead and get him on the pit strategy. So that's how that came about, but I needed this run, man. Good Lord, this is a rough crowd.
Brian, it was fun to watch and see you go through. You pulled out that third place when it was all said and done. Gap ahead at the end was 26 seconds. I mean, I got to ask you, did you have much more pace?
You know, I had nothing to catch Ross and nothing to catch his teammate there, so I figured, you know what, I'm just going to settle into a pace here, not try to push it. So I kept it right where I was comfortable. And I seen Dave was behind me at 2.7 seconds, so I was trying to maintain that. But I could have ran a little faster, but I was scared I'd tear it up if I did.
Yeah, you got to finish. You have to finish in order to, finish through. So you did good, man. It looked really good. Big turnaround, too, from last week. Did Canada just suit you a bit better? Or what was it that kind of helped you get up there? Because last week, I think you finished 15th.
Yeah, last week I got involved in an early wreck, man. It was just a bad incident, man. Bad mojo. But, yeah, I mean, I hate this track, I'll be honest with you. But at the same time, discipline is what it takes here.
Absolutely. And Brian, before we let you go, anyone you want to thank, anyone you want to shout out, we'll give you the floor here. Any final thoughts you got?
Yeah, I just want to thank RSR, man, Les Turner, and everybody that puts this thing on, man. They do a great job with it. Everybody that races here, man, everybody here is clean. They're fast. They're fun to race with, man. And Lord knows, man, a third feels like a win to me.
Third absolutely can be a win. So, Brian, we'll let you go. Take it easy. Congrats on the third place, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, sir.
I'll tell you what, Sagar, when it's all said and done, it's still such a good time here at Red Sox. It's one of those that, I always enjoy this. There's nothing, that I don't enjoy with Red Sox going around.
100%, 110%. The Red Sox Racing League has done nothing but provided us with excitement and entertainment every Thursday evening here, and I am absolutely here for it. The Red Sox Racing League has done a phenomenal job to put together a wonderful group of individuals that are competing at such a high level of competition. I am having a great time commentating with you, Bradley Dalton. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you very much to the Red Sox Racing League for having PTR TV and allowing us the opportunity to join you all. And closing thoughts, can't wait for next week.
Absolutely. And in 1 week's time, it'll be round 3 here in Interlagos. And then I'll tell you, after next week, it gets real busy here around PTR TV. If you're not aware of what's happening, check out PrimetimeRacingTV.com and be sure to check out the schedule. We've got tons of races coming up. Schedules being updated regularly. We're adding more things. We've got great things coming. Sagar, it's been fun as always to have you here in the booth. I always appreciate you coming in for Red Sox and having you here on PTR TV. And from this point, this is going to be where we sign things off for the night. So on behalf of Sagar and myself, we've taken you start to finish here around the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Be sure to join us next week around in Interlagos, where we'll take you start to finish yet again. Good night.